CEO of Republic, Andrew Durgee. Andrew, you've already announced SpaceX, Anthropic. What could be bigger than those?
That's right, and we're happy to announce it here with you. OpenAI is our next offering, and we could not be more excited about it.
Wow. Okay, let's explain to people what that means. If I hear you correctly, through your Mirror tokens, people can now buy either a share or a slice of OpenAI before it's even public?
They can have exposure to OpenAI as a U.S. retail investor, so pre-IPO for the first time ever.
Okay. This is going to get a lot of people excited because they feel that that has been an opportunity only for accredited investors, which means you have to have 7 figures behind you to prove that you're ready to take on the risk. They don't have to have this with Republic.
Nope, not anymore. Right now at Republic, you can literally go to our site and be able to participate in a market that, as a retail investor, you've been held out of basically since you've been born, since the 1930s for the most part. So now, through us and through our CF structure, our Reg CF structure, you now have the ability to have exposure to an asset class that previously has never happened.
Okay, the Reg CF, you've got to explain that.
No problem. So we use a regulatory structure, and have been doing this now for 8 years. It's an exemption that allows for U.S. retail investors to participate in private companies.
Yeah, we've covered many like this,
sure.
But a Mirror token is what makes you different. What is that?
Yeah, so now because we have built a tokenization framework into this asset class, not only is retail able to have exposure to it, but now we're able to have secondary market trading of that asset on a go forward. So we have our initial reservations taking place now, but once post that distribution, this will then trade within our secondary market, and people will be able to participate ongoing.
OpenAI has something like a $300 billion valuation at the moment. How do you glean the shares? Because you got to have the underlying shares before you can start passing them up in these so-called Mirror tokens, correct?
Yeah. So
where are you getting yours?
So ultimately, how it works with us is you don't hold the shares. You have an interest in that exposure, right? And so that is a guarantee, basically, from Republic. It's a debt structure that guarantees them that upside at that entry point. So usually we'll sell it at the last round. So let's say the last round was $300 billion for OpenAI. They would then come into that structure with us, and they have the same entry point as the multi-billion-dollar VCs that entered just recently.
But you have the shares, correct?
No, so we don't have to hold the shares. Regulatory-wise, we do not have to hold the shares.
How are you selling to people something that you don't hold?
So we create a guarantee, a debt guarantee of their entry point and the increase. That doesn't mean that we don't go acquire the shares later, but regulatory-wise, we are not required to have them.
This makes me nervous, and only because I'm thinking of, okay, here, buy a piece of the Brooklyn Bridge.
Sure,
and who owns the Brooklyn Bridge?
Yeah. No, inevitably, the goal is that we will be able to take on those shares, right? So we generally target.
To your hopes, or
no? Well, we're targeting companies that we have access to those shares ultimately.
So you have a relationship with OpenAI?
Not directly with OpenAI, but with other companies that have that inventory already. And there's a thriving secondary market now. It's just retail has not been able to participate in that secondary market.
Well, they have in some cases where companies are able to purchase shares from employees who were gifted them as part of their compensation plan, and then they want to cash out, so they sell them on these open closed markets, I guess you could call them. But so tell me exactly how you guarantee it for people that they're not just playing with funny money.
Yeah, so it's part of the filings that we do, and we do have to file a Form C. So there's a process to go through this. It's important to know we are regulated by FINRA and the SEC, and have been for 8.5 years. And in this particular styles of offerings that we do, no one's been doing it longer than us. So we have the roadmap, we have the success, and we're so excited to be able to do this structure now that does something that's never been done before.
All right, so let's say I get my hands on some of these Mirror tokens, and by the way, my ability to purchase them is capped at what, $5,000?
Yeah, so the offerings right now, we cap at $5,000 because it's meant to be retail oriented. I don't want a big, hedge fund coming in and buying up all the inventory. It's meant for people.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair. Let's say I hold them for a while, and OpenAI has some great partnerships they announce, and they start breaking ground on Stargate, their big data center plan in Texas, and I want to get rid of these. How do I do that?
Yeah, we have our secondary market, so you are able to just simply log into your account, and through our secondary market, you're able to sell that position.
They got to go through you, though.
That's right.
How do you make the money?
How do we make the money?
Yes.
So we make money on the trading fees. That's really what the business is built around. So even though you're entering at the same point that everyone else is, where we make our fees, where our structure is when you choose to activate the secondary market.
Really quickly, you announced already SpaceX and Anthropic today. What kind of action have you seen on the site?
Unbelievable. It's been parabolic for us. You know, we've been doing this business for 8 years. We've had a lot of big wins and big windfall successes. This is unlike anything that we've ever seen.
So today, right now, people can go on and buy at least exposure to OpenAI.
Yeah, so you go on our site and you make a reservation, like this is what I want, this is the asset I want, this is how much I want of it, and then as we go through our filings, then we'll come back and we'll take in the cash from them, and they will then receive the security from us. And
no matter what, they can at least get their investment back. Is there any way to lose money on this?
So, I mean, there's always risk in private markets. If a private business goes under, then it goes under. In that case. But what's really beautiful about the tokenization, it's only possible through tokenization, is we are able to have the secondary market. People aren't locked into this thing until an IPO. Right? And that's, I think, the real fear for retail investors is you go into something and you maybe put up a couple $1,000s into it, but then you're stuck in it for 10 years. That's really tough for people. And so now they can come into it, and when they want, they can exit it.
Yeah, private equity has been rather annoyed lately because the exits haven't been there to the public markets.
That's right.
We will continue to watch this and let us know how the OpenAI activity goes right now after announcing it here.
Yeah, I will, and it's here. This is the news, so we're excited about it. Yeah.
Andrew, thank you very much.
Thank you.